Hello everyone and welcome to Stick to the Manga Podcast, your weekly manga podcast where we talk about a new manga every week. And this week we're talking about Soul Eater. Nobody knows what Soul Eater is. It definitely doesn't have a anime adaptation that is popular, and it definitely doesn't have a sequel series that is almost the same title, just not.
That was a good pun there.
Yeah, like that. Like a little insider joke right there that only some people that have gotten into reading manga will know.
And trust me, Soul Eater is definitely a not in that case.
Alright, so Gabi, do you want to read us your summary?
Sure. So, in a world where death is a person and people can be weapons, the two types pair up. This series follows a student pair at Death's Academy on their journey to become a Death Scythe by finding and consuming 99 evil souls and one witch soul. The student pair is a scythe named Soul Eater and his Meister Maka Albarn. But don't worry, other characters like the OCD Son of Death and a loudmouth ninja do make an appearance. Soul Eater is a manga that is intense, funny, and a little NSFW.
Yeah, first off, I would like to say the anime is not as perverted as the manga.
Yeah, that is something you do notice if you've seen the anime a few times and you haven't picked up the manga. There are some missing scenes from the anime.
I was actually kind of shocked. I was like, oh, great goodness.
There's a lot of panty shots in the manga.
Not what I was expecting.
And a lot more boobage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a pretty good amount in the anime, but
yeah,
more things like nipple outlines.
Did you
it's funny how
the
you had
forsaken N-word?
No, I would never.
You said nipples. I'm sorry, Gabi. You're a wild card. You're really just gonna. This is gonna be a hard team up with you. I don't know if this is gonna work out. Like, you just keep bringing up nipples.
Yeah,
NSFW
you're making your
content.
workplace feel very uncomfortable, Gabi.
Yeah, this is a very uncomfortable workplace environment. We're gonna need you to talk to HR.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm HR.
Yeah, Kevin's HR.
Okay.
Alright, so we're gonna start talking about spoilers now. So if you are not caught up with this manga, don't listen to the rest of us, or just read up to chapter
9, volume 3.
Volume 3, chapter 9. Does that sound good to everybody? Volume 3, chapter 9?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, that's correct.
Alright, so yeah, if you read up to there, you can come listen to us talk about this manga. And we're probably going to talk about the anime a lot, because we've all watched the anime. I think I've seen the entirety of the anime, I'm not sure.
I have seen all of it more than 5 times.
I've seen all of it, and I mean, I haven't seen it long enough, so a lot of it felt like new.
I have definitely binge watched this anime more than 5 times in completion. So, in regards to the anime, I think the first thing that we all kind of talked about a little bit was the differences between the art style.
Oh yeah, especially with the introduction chapter with Maka and Soul. It's really different.
Yeah, a lot of the attitude, for lack of a better word, is still there, but the style is a lot less typical anime, like the anime is, and it's more cartoony.
Oh yeah, I guess.
And it's really unique too, in my opinion.
True. I felt kind of it being the same as the anime though, a little bit. But I guess it's because that's what I'm used to, I guess, you know?
After the first chapter with Soul and Maka, it kind of normalizes into like the usual style you think of when you think of Soul Eater.
Yeah.
Especially into the death chapter. That chapter is where you see like, oh, okay, this is what the style is gonna be. But character designs are a little bit different because Liz and Patty have different character designs slightly. Like their outfits are a little bit different. Like
The
Liz,
puffy shorts got even more puffy.
yep, and Liz's shirt in her original like design in the Death the Kid chapter was open, so it was like showing a bunch of cleavage.
Yep.
And then,
It's like the sweaters.
mm-hmm. And then,
Virgin killer sweaters.
you see Virgin Killer sweaters?
That's what they're called, with the slit in the front.
Is that what they're called?
Yes, they're called Virgin killer sweaters.
That's honestly a beautiful naming scheme.
It's... I must... Yeah.
I wonder who came up with that idea. What's the best thing we can call a revealing outfit?
Probably
I know
Weeb.
Virgin Killer.
It's not the same. I lied. I thought it had the slit in the front.
Yeah, that does not look at all like
Okay.
Patty's shirt.
I made a mistake. I forgot what the name for the slit was. It has a name.
Look at this, Gabi. Either way, I do agree that Virgin Killer is a good name for that sweater that you just sent.
The real Virgin Slayer? Or was it Killer?
Killer.
Okay. I don't know why I thought it was Slayer.
Because that's what your fantasies line up with.
Okay, so yeah, and then back to Liz and Patty. Their design kind of like their shirts match now in the like finalized design. Liz had the open shirt, and then Patty had like the sweater with a tie. And now they both have like the sweater with a tie.
Yeah, it was fun. I really enjoy seeing the small differences when it comes to manga and anime, because I think it's really fun to see those differences.
It really is. They put more work in the manga than they do in anime, honestly.
Well, I would call it just different type of work.
I mean, it takes a lot of drawing to make an anime, because you have to redraw like hundreds of visuals to make like a minute of animation.
Yeah, no, that's why I said like it's both just a lot of work. I just think it's really interesting. Like, I still think the manga is a little more comic-y, and then I don't know I feel like it's one of the manga things. Like, all the men look so much shorter in the manga.
Yeah.
They all look a lot smaller.
All the girls are tall in...
Yeah, they all look massive, except for Maka's like the least massive one.
But she's still like taller than Soul, I'm pretty sure.
I think she is. Like, I just find that so, if anything, they're near the same height. I think she's taller.
I think it's Soul slouches a lot. I think Soul is actually taller, like, actually physically.
Yeah, but then he would be the only one.
Yeah.
Because all the other females are literally massive. Like, Liz and Patty, even though they're wearing heels, like, if you take off the heel length, they're still massive.
Yeah, especially Liz. She's, like, almost twice the height of Death the Kid.
Oh, it's so good.
So, Kevin.
Yep.
Who's your favorite character?
Patty.
Why is Patty your favorite character, Kevin?
I don't, I've been thinking a lot about it this episode. Like, I don't know if it's Patty or if it's her sister Liz, but Patty has, like, a carefree attitude type thing and is like humorous, finds humor in a lot of things. You know what I mean?
That's Patty.
Like, pardon?
That is Patty.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyway.
She also conveniently has the bigger chest.
Oh, okay. So you had it. Like, that's not a factor to all my favorite characters. Okay.
Note that all.
Pardon?
He
Note
did
the
choose.
fact you said all of them, not all of them.
He did choose Pappy as his favorite character in Monster Musume.
Oh.
And she
Plot
has the
twist.
smallest chest. So
Why are we even
I'm aware
talking about this? Anyway.
Kevin, we just wanted you to acknowledge that your favorite characters are always cute girls. There's nothing wrong with that.
I deny nothing. Oh wait, no, I deny everything. Maybe I'll mix it up. Maybe I'll have cute anime guys. How do you know? You don't know my
Our
taste.
next one is Tokyo Ghoul, so there's some cuties in there.
I need me some more husbandos, so let's... But anyways, okay, since Kevin answered, Jake, what about you?
Mine
Who's
is
your
Black
favorite character?
Star.
Why is Black Star your favorite character? I know why, but continue, please.
I like Black Star because he's goofy, way more confident than like people think he should be, but he's actually strong because he believes he's strong, so he just has that determination to be strong.
Yeah.
And when
is...
Tsubaki was doing her big battle with her brother, he just like stood there and got beat for however long that battle actually lasted.
Yeah. So, fun fact, when I originally saw the anime, because I saw the anime first, I did not like Black Star. Like, I thought he was funny, but I did not like how he treated Tsubaki. So when that episode and those episodes and scenes came up, like, that's the first time I had real respect for Black Star. And even now, like, I love that scene because you get to see a side of Black Star that isn't just this amount of cocky behavior and loud personality, because you can actually there see how much he does care about his partner.
I will be bigger than God.
He says I am God at least 3 times.
Yeah, or he's like, I will be bigger than God.
Yup. But the reason why I said I know why Jake picked Black Star is because he reminds me a lot of Black Star. A lot like Black Star in a lot of ways.
Were you acting like you know me or something? You acting like you've met me before a single time and slapped me in the face after being pressured into it for like 3 hours?
To slap you in the face? How did that conversation start?
Because for like she's in a relationship with my best friend. She's been dating him for 300 years. And
continue.
We all met on Skype, and Gabi was like, when I meet you, Jake, I'm gonna slap you across the face at one point. She probably said this once, and me and Tyler held on to it for years. Literally
years. Because then we met, and I was like, I'm not doing this. I said this literally like a year ago. I was kidding. But Jake was like, no, do it. No, do it. And I was eventually pressured into it.
And also, it needs to be filmed.
I also kind of messed up, and I made it hurt more, because I accidentally hit you more with, like, the top of my palm rather than my fingers.
It actually didn't hurt that much.
Yeah. Probably could have hurt less, though.
It probably could have hurt more.
I mean, I was nervous. I didn't necessarily want to slap you in the face.
Anyway, back on topic.
So my favorite character.
Yeah, what's your favorite character?
This is actually a really hard question for me, because the more you watch the show and the more you read the manga, you just fall in love with all the characters all over again. But I
It is
kind of go
true.
back to my favorite character being Maka, I think. I also really love Soul. Like, I love so many of them, but Maka is probably my favorite just because of how you see her throughout the entire series. Because I know what happens in the end, but even the first part, I really just love how you see her character develop. I really like that. And I just love the pair. Like, I love Sol and Maka as a team. I love how they're not perfect for each other and they have to work through that. And then throughout the first part, which we read, you get to see them go through a lot of strife and grief to work harder on their pairs. So, like, that's my favorite character is probably Maka, and then my favorite pair is definitely Sol and Maka.
Yeah.
Honestly, if we're talking about favorite pairs now, I would have to say Kid's team is the most hilarious. It's like this has to be symmetrical or you can't function at all. It's like
Even your boob sizes are different.
yeah, it's like why what? Why would you like Kid Def does have balls for doing that. Holy shit.
But that's the thing is that his character is supposed to have some weird form of OCD pretty much.
Yeah.
So in his head, like he's not really thinking about the aspects of just grabbing their boobs and what that means. He's kind of just like freaking out over the fact that they're not the same size. But also, if you want to think about that, is that Death is the son of the Shinigami, so like he's not a normal kid. Like he didn't grow up with the same societal expectations that other people had.
It
That's
sounds
fair.
like you're making excuses for Def the kid.
I'm not saying he should have done it. I'm just saying that that's probably the reason why he did.
You know what? I think Death is just a little bit of a perv, and
Yeah.
he just wanted to get a little handsy with Patty and Liz more often than he actually does because he literally holds them in his hands constantly.
You know what though? They all respect each other.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
I mean, that's one of the big moments that we learn about when he first comes to be a student at school, and Black Star and Soul try to buddy up and be partners.
Why are you
That
so heavy?
was freaking hilarious. It's like, okay, a different Meister is going to wield a different weapon, and they're like wavelengths are way off, and on top of that, usually the pairings are different sexes. So like the only instance we have where we had same sex Meister and weapon was Dr. Stein and Maka's dad.
Death Scythe
So far.
or Spirit.
Pardon?
I said Death Scythe or Spirit.
Yep.
He has two different names because once you become a Death Scythe, your name changes to Death Scythe.
Yep.
That's such a. I still find that kind of ridiculous. But I think if they only get called. Do they only get called Death Scythe if they're actually like the weapon Death is using?
Yeah,
Okay, that's what I thought.
I believe so. There's probably somebody who is like an extreme Soul Eater otaku who's just going to be like, no, you're wrong.
That's okay. They can tell us we're wrong.
The thing is,
gladly tell us we're wrong. Provide links.
welcome it. Actually,
Cite your sources. Give us the sauces.
give us the sauces.
Use MLA format.
Yes, please.
No, this isn't school. Actually, I guess it could be anime school. In a way.
Size 12 times New Roman, please. 200 words.
Double spaced.
Must have a title. Your name must be on the right hand corner. and the date.
And also sign it at the bottom, please. Which intro to chapter did you guys like the best?
Oh, intro chapter. I thought you were gonna say intro, like opening theme. Like
No.
No. We're
This
a
is
manga
about the manga,
podcast.
not the anime, Kevin.
I'm sorry.
I
Although
don't know. I liked
Black
a lot
Paper
of them.
Moon.
I was gonna say the same.
Black Paper Moon.
Oh, yes. But anyways, in terms of like what you're looking for, I feel like each of the introductions do a really good job. Because
They
if you want
do.
something funny, like Black Star's intro is hilarious. Like it's so good. But
It
then if you
is.
want some, like I think Soul Maka being the first intro was also really good, and I also like the weird artistic rendition of Jack the Ripper. That was really cool. I enjoyed that a lot. Every single time I see it, I think it's fun.
Yeah, the one thing we have to get over though is Blair. Like her appearances, they're always extreme.
Extremely what?
Extremely horny.
I think she does that just to humor Soul or something.
Well, she wants attention. She's
Well-
literally a cat.
Well, yeah,
Speaking of
but
cats,
I mean,
I have a cat right behind me who is rubbing on my hands.
cool.
What's your favorite introduction chapter?
Mine is Death to Kids.
Same.
Because of his excessiveness about oh, that painting at home, it's off tilter just a little bit. I have to know. Poof.
Yeah, he literally abandons Patty and that was just awful.
And then we get the gem that is Kevin's icon.
Yep. I wasn't expecting that, by the way. I already kind of ranted to the guys about it. I had no pick in it, so just throwing that out there.
Yeah, you just have to send me a pic of what you want, and then you'll get what you want.
Yeah. It's fine though. It's fine. It's a hilarious photo. I don't know enough about graphic design and stuff to put in like a cool photo, you know?
You just have to be like, I like this scene. I like this scene with this character. Put this character's scene in it. That's what Gabby did with hers. She was like, please use this nosebleed.
It's such a good one. I love when the nosebleeds literally shoot straight out of their faces. It's my favorite. It's like a little canyon.
So Gabby has a nosebleed bleed kink.
No, I
Who
just think
doesn't?
it's funny. Like I remember I did not understand like what nosebleeds really were supposed to be until like mid high school.
I didn't find out about them until about junior high.
Great. We love it.
I had a train of thought, but then it derailed.
Your train derailed? That's never fun.
Okay. I feel like the scene with Patty and Liz, where they're getting wrapped up by the mummy, that definitely ignited somebody's BDSM kink.
Yours?
No. Not mine.
Oh, okay.
Somebody's. He's being
Somebody's.
generic.
I saw it and I was like, somebody looked at this and was like, yeah, that's what I'm into.
Well, I mean,
Every
don't
time I
know why
see the
anybody
scene,
would want to be into a mummy.
no, it's the tying up.
No.
But beside the point. Like, I just
Mummies
find
I'd
it so
like to
funny
fuck.
every time I see that scene because in the manga it's so much more graphic.
Yeah, like
But in the anime, it does like the pink glows, and it's like, ah. I love that. So fun.
I hate it when anime does like the light beams as censorship.
Oh yes, I do love that.
I hate it.
Kill the Kill is an example of that.
I
I'm going
like
to
it when
say,
they're more creative with their censorship.
I think the most what is the most creative censorship I've seen? Not faces of the character.
The one that instantly comes to mind for me is Heaven's Lost Property. How they censor out his wiener, and it's just like a blob with like little fairy wings.
That's my favorite. That is actually such a funny censorship thing.
I think
Tyler
we have
made me
that
read
one
that
on
one.
our reading list, actually.
It is. I think it was your suggestion.
Typical.
Was it one of my etchy suggestions?
I think so. Okay, like going through like the thing. It just randomly happened that most of the etchy ones were on my picks, and I was like, this works out.
Good, because I don't feel comfortable with some etchy ones that I watch. Because they're more like hentai, you know?
This just in. Kevin admits to watching hentai to podcast audience.
I don't watch hentai, I swear.
Did you guys know that Kevin watches hentai? He confirmed it today.
Did I confirm it today? No, I didn't.
Yep, you did. You did.
The stronger the denial, the more likely it's true.
Oh, there's cops outside my door. I need to go.
Welcome to Anime ASMR.
FBI.
I'm kidding, but there was sirens outside, so I just thought it would be a funny time to make commentary.
FBI, open up. We're looking for a Kevin who watches hentai. Get down on the ground! Get down on the ground!
You probably
leave that anime figure where it is.
Too, Jake.
Actually, I've only watched hentai with other people when they were like, hey, let's watch this hentai. And I'm like, okay, guys.
Well, I remember...
Yeah, I showed my group of friends at college a hentai.
The
the worst one.
One of my buddies was like, oh, we should watch Baku no Piku. And I was like, no, we shouldn't. And he's like, yeah, we shouldn't. And I was like, or actually, he didn't know what it really was. So we all sat down and watched like 2 episodes of Baku no Piku.
Oh no.
Awful.
It made me feel uncomfortable too.
Okay. Okay, that's a good transition page. So, what would you guys want for a demon weapon?
I would have 2. I would have a sword and a shield. The sword would be a female. The shield would be a male. And he'd be really insecure. But the lady who would be the sword would be like really aggressive and would pick on the shield a lot.
You've thought this way too far ahead. I only wrote down what my weapons would be, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say it.
Do it.
Well, my weapons would be like swords, dual swords. I'm thinking like twins, 2 twin girls.
So we just learned a little bit more about Kevin.
Kevin has a twins kink.
Yes. I was not trying to say it outright, but Jake just threw you under the bus there, Kevin. So, for my choice, I would actually want to be the weapon. I think that would be really cool. I'd want to be some sort of blade type, probably a knife though, because I really like pocket knives.
Stab, stab, stab.
So it's not because you're like Yuri from Doki Doki?
No.
Or Legion from Dead by Daylight.
Nope.
Gabi, I think what you're trying to say is that you're the person that just wants to be held.
Yeah. That's...
I mean, I like hugs, so that's all I can say.
What do you guys think of Lord Death?
He's like, I don't know how to put it. Great dad, but very, very what's the word? You know when somebody's like partly there but not partly there, they're funny but they're not. They're like, their timing is kind of off.
Okay, I'm going to talk about my feelings now. So, how I feel about Lord Death is that, like, he's such a weird character, like, especially in the chapters that we read. It's like, you don't really know how to feel about him because he's so goofy and, like, really weird, so you don't really understand fully how he is, but you can tell that he wants to be a doting father, but he's not the best at it because he's so busy with, like, everything he has to do with, being death. So I just think he's such an interesting character, but at the same time, I want to know more about him. And one of the biggest cues, I guess, kind of foreshadowing if you've seen the rest of the series, is that you see how big his soul is when Maka can't see it because it covers the entirety of the academy.
Yeah, it covers the entire school.
Massive.
Which is like a literal town. It's not just a school. It's a town.
You can say Lord Death's essence is everywhere.
So, about more characters, what do you think about the relationship between Maka and her dad? Because that is played almost from like the first chapter onward.
That's a painful one. Like, I don't think Maka should be so cold to her dad, but at the same, because everybody should have a relationship with their parent, especially. It depends how toxic your dad is, I guess. Like, I'm talking from kind of experience with my dad never being around and things like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, every father should get a chance, but like, what am I trying to say here? It's a touchy subject.
Yeah, when you're a parent, if you're not really there for your family, it kind of ruins your relationship with your family. And you might not even know. Because your family might just be like, I'm sick of you, but I'm not going to say anything because you should know that you fucked up.
But in terms of this relationship specifically, like, let's not forget that I don't recall if they mentioned it in the chapters we read, but what ends up happening between like Maka and her dad, like you eventually learn that like he cheated on her mom a lot, and she was there to witness it a lot from a young age. So I don't think that her feelings are necessarily bad.
No,
but not. I definitely think he's funny. Like, I think he's a lot of comic relief.
He is.
For Maka, and it also proves why she's so uptight about so many things.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, the biggest mystery about this relationship is that she has so much adoration for her mother, but we literally never see the mother or really hear about her, besides the fact that when Maka says that she, like, loves her mom.
Can we, for a second, talk about how one of the most perverted scenes, in my opinion, Like, Dr. Stein, I don't know if he's a pervert or not. That one scene where Tsubaki, I believe, like, what was, I can't remember the exact part, but she was like exposed to Dr. Stein and he got like all like bloody nose and stuff, and then next thing you know, they expose, like, Maka tries to expose herself and everybody. Yeah, no, this is not good. You
That
know what I
wasn't
mean?
Dr. Stein, that was Sid.
That was Sid.
That was Sid.
Yeah, that was zombie teacher Sid. And that was more so a problem with Black Star. Oh, poor Maka.
What's with all the like adult men in this series other than Dr. Stein just being dirty old men?
Right? But if you think about it, that's the stereotype about men, is that we're all dirty and perverted. So
I definitely feel like Maka and her father's relationship is so strained because of his cheating. Like, as somebody who grew up with a parent who cheated a lot, I can definitely say that, like, you definitely feel the irritation of, like, why can't you just get your shit together-ness that, like, Maka kind of has towards her dad.
Yeah. I also think, like I kind of mentioned before, that it's an important aspect of Maka's character because without that, she wouldn't have as much drive as she does to be completely independent and successful. And one of the things I noticed in the manga that isn't in the anime, so we start off where Maka and Soul get their 99th soul, and when they meet Blair, they're trying to get their witch soul because they think she's a witch. But later in the manga, when Stein takes over as their teacher, some of the other kids are talking about how many souls they consumed, and like the top person said like 12. So like this just kind of shows you how impressive Maka and Soul actually are compared to their other classmates, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, like, Maka is super driven.
a little too driven.
No, I don't think she's too driven. I think she knows what she needs to do and knows what she wants to do, and she's like, I think she has so much admiration for her mother because her mother made a death scythe with her father.
The father is the mother's death scythe.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But I mean, that's a way to break, like, yeah, the father shouldn't have been cheating, but I mean, that's like how to break up a family, you know? And it's horrible.
Yeah. I wonder if, like, part of the conflict between Spirit and Maka's mom was, like, she was so driven that she didn't put a lot of, like, effort into the marriage, and so Spirit felt kind of neglected, like, emotionally that way, and maybe that's why he cheated, because he wasn't getting the, like, emotional attention that he needed.
Disclaimer to the audience, that is still not a good enough reason to cheat on anyone ever. We're just explaining character, potential backgrounds.
Yeah. Just like,
you know, though, the same
reasoning.
I feel that Maka and Soul would get together at some point and the same situation would happen with them.
No, I don't think so, because Maka clearly cares about Soul. Like, when Soul put his life on the line for Maka, like, Maka felt awful about that, and, like, didn't know what to do with herself
to this day.
Yeah.
Well, where we've read up to, Maka does not talk to his father or to Soul right now.
Also, like one of the first few chapters that you read when they're about to kill Blair, like Soul is all about being a cool guy. Like he only ever does what like a cool person does. And he was like, cool guys don't cheat. So I mean, can't predict the future, but I personally don't think they would have the same type relationship as Spirit and Maka's mom.
Yeah, they definitely. I don't think they would. Okay, going back to the Soul thing, like when it happened, like him jumping in front of the blade. I hate when anime pulls the death card, like, or manga pulls the like death card really early in a series, because it just kind of sets up this state of like plot armor almost. Like, oh, they're not gonna die because they're the main character. You know?
You know what? I think anime should mix it up a bit and actually have the main character die.
Okay, we haven't talked about Krona yet. How do you guys feel about Krona and Ragnarok?
Krona's actually my favorite.
I actually thought.
But when I was thinking about my favorites, I was only thinking about the Meisters and the weapons, like the traditional ones of the Academy.
I thought
Krona's my favorite. Krona doesn't have a official gender in the manga.
Yeah.
They sometimes refer to him as a boy, but that's English translation. In the pure Japanese one, Krona is referred to as just like they, them. They don't have a gender or a sex in the original. And in the anime, Krona is a boy, but they don't actually have a gender.
Yeah.
Assigned to them.
The one thing I thought about when I saw Krona, I was like, oh, there's a virus waiting to happen.
His name is Krona.
Okay, still, I'm making bad puns. I'm sorry.
But I remember the first time I read the series and you see Krona, you're like, what in the fuck is that? Because it's so creepy, and everything we've learned about weapons is that they're also people. So the fact that there's one inside of someone is so grotesque and so disturbing.
You know what? That weapon would have been so powerful. Like, think about it. Your blood hardens the moment you get cut, so it doesn't pierce your skin. Or what else was it? It missunk waves, so it couldn't get certain. Like, I don't remember the whole power, but it was a freaking powerful power.
Yeah. Ragnarok is really strong, but also a jerk.
Yeah. Good thing he gets paid. Corona gets to beat up Magma Rock later on.
I can't tell if you're trying to do that on purpose or not.
No, I might like that's his name, right?
No, it's Krona.
No, I'm not talking about Corona. Okay. I'm talking about Magma Rock.
It's Ragnarok. R.
All right.
What do you guys think?
The greatest character in all of Soul Eater, Excalibur.
I was going to. How about we talk about the witches and the plot with the witches?
I think we should talk about Excalibur first. And how he has so much like quality in him. Like, he's like super funny, super informative, extremely helpful.
I don't know why you're playing him up as that.
Because he's actually one of my favorite characters. I love him. At least in the anime. He's not so great in the manga. He's just kind of in the manga. But in the anime, at least the English dub, as far as I know, is just like, I look forward to that episode.
I literally skipped that episode.
I love it.
After I watched it 2 times, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
You know, Gabi, that makes you a fool. Because Excalibur is the mightiest weapon.
He is the most powerful one, but he can't synchronize with. He can synchronize with everybody, but he can't get along with everybody, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he can synchronize with anybody, but no humans synchronize with him very well because he's just obnoxious and rude and disrespectful.
And arguably more self-centered than Black Star.
No, he definitely is. Black Star doesn't make people fill out a 1,000 question questionnaire just to be his friend.
Oh, that was literally so dramatic. Excalibur is such a mess.
It was a cute little side story, though.
Hey, you get to see Black Star and Kid team up.
My favorite part was just that fairy. Have you seen Excalibur? That face.
Ugh.
And then the fairy comes back later. Have you found Excalibur? That face. Yep, you found him.
And okay, something I want to talk about is I can't talk about it because it spoils things in the future. So I can't talk about it. But
We can talk about the witches.
yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. But there's the thing that I wanted to talk about specifically I can't talk about because of spoilers.
I love how Medusa is uglier in the manga. Her face looks weird.
It does. I like the dramatic scenes with her where it's just look, now it's my evil face.
Yeah, she is a really good villain. I really do like her as a villain.
Well,
but I also hate her because Krona is my baby.
Krona doesn't deserve this.
He does not.
It's kind of ironic how Medusa, they're looking for a witch and Medusa's right under.
Yeah, I like that Dr. Stein just knows. It basically just tells her to her face, yeah, I know you're a witch.
But he is, so good at reading souls. And not just that, he's good at reading people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so fun. The scene where he goes to read their souls and Maka covers her chest. Don't read my soul.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes me laugh.
They should make a sequel called Soul Reader. Was it really that bad of a joke? Which of the 3 or 4, 5 witches is your favorite?
If we're counting Blair.
Blair is not a witch.
She is? Well, yeah, I guess not. But
later on, it's just
yes,
I am a witch.
She has magical prowess. I guess she's not a pure witch, I guess. She is a being that can use magic, but she's a cat that can use magic. And a witch is a person who can use magic, so maybe that's where that line is. Who knows?
Then the mouse witch and the frog witch, this is the topic I want to talk about, by the way, are witches, but technically they're frogs and mice.
And snakes.
Or can they just turn into it? Because I thought the frog and the mouse one, they could just turn into it. They weren't necessarily... to give another example, because I can't think of the word right now, Professor McGonagall in Harry Potter. She can turn into a cat. Animagus. Yeah. So I thought it was that. But Blair actually says she's a cat, so I don't know.
because later on in the series, at least in the anime, they call her the Cat Witch, because the Mouse Witch Mizune is like, fuck you, we hate you. We've had a rivalry forever. And it's like implied that Blair is a witch.
Okay, then I guess Blair would be my favorite.
But if we don't count Blair, then Frog Girl, who I can't
like
remember her
mice.
name.
Well, quite personally, Witch Angela and the Bodyguard are my favorite because they're
Oh.
she's so young that she couldn't have done anything wrong, you know? Like, at all. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Angela is so cute. How she picked up the sword, even though she didn't know how to use it, instead, like, sliced at Black Star's head. It was great.
Who's your favorite witch, Gabi?
It's either the mice. I really like the mouse one because her friend, the frog one, I always forget their names. It's terrible. That she needed help, and then she's like willing to offer it. That's past where we read. Oops. But I really like her because she's really cute. I like her concept. But I do love frogs, so I like the other one too.
And you know, it's kind of cool they team up against the common foe, the Snake Witch. It's like
Medusa.
yeah, like it just shows that like frogs and mice can be friends, you know?
You ever see that picture of a frog eating a mouse?
No.
Yeah, there's a video of a bullfrog eating a mouse.
Yeah. The bigger type frogs do eat rodents.
That's beautiful.
Bullfrogs are terrifying. But I love them. They're chunky.
Alright, so do you guys have anything else you want to talk about, or you want to wrap up?
Oh!
The last thing I want to say is that Krona deserves better, and he's baby. Their
Krona
baby.
deserve better.
Krona didn't really do anything wrong, as you find out in the later.
I mean, he still did bad things, but he was coerced to do them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he overcomes the evil bad guy that makes him do it, though.
Don't worry. I'm the editor. I can edit whatever I want out.
He's essentially God.
Of this podcast, yes.
Yeah.
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 Alright, so anything else? Are we ready to wrap up?
We should probably tell them what next week's manga is going to be.
Next week we're going to be reading Tokyo Ghoul. And we may have a guest.
Yeah.
Whose name is James. And so thank you for tuning in, everybody. You can follow us on Instagram at SitManga Podcast. And Twitter is at SitManga, 2 T's. And we have a Facebook page, SitManga Podcast. No, Stick It to the Manga Podcast on Facebook. And that's all of our social medias. Oh, also, we have a My Anime list where we track what we have been reading and what we will be reading. So if you want to follow our social medias, those are all of them, and they should be linked down below. Alright, thank you for listening. We will see you next week. Bye-bye, manga fans.
Bye.
Bye.